Hello and welcome to another episode of 10 Count for UCN Live. I'm Michael Montero, joined here at Hollywood Smoke by Mr. Doug Fischer of Ring TV, the sports god, Mr. Dave Smith of NBC Sports Radio, and the institution, Mr. Ken Miller.
Right.
Guys, there's this little fight on May 2nd, maybe you heard of it. Let's talk a little Mayweather-Pacquiao. $100 for the pay-per-view. $150 for closed circuit at the casino. Mind you, you cannot order the pay-per-view at any other casino. Is this about the fans or what?
It's not about the fans. It's not about hardcore boxing fans. It's not about hardcore boxing media. This is the clash for all the cash. This is the fight that's supposed to break revenue records. And if they're going to break all the revenue records, and if they're going to justify the guarantees that they're paying Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, they need to do record pay-per-view numbers, which means they have to go beyond boxing. They would like to go beyond sports. So if they're going to go beyond sports, they don't need the boxing media. As far as the sports media, you know, the only guys who are going to be in that arena are guys like Stephen A. Smith or Dan Patrick or whatever. Us guys who have been covering Manny Pacquiao for 15 years and Floyd Mayweather since he got out of the 1996 Olympics, we've done our part. We kind of got them to this point, but Mayweather versus Pacquiao is supposed to be a transcending event, and to get 4 million pay-per-view buys, they need like the entertainment media. That's who's invited.
The mainstream sports media.
That's the mainstream. I mean, even beyond sports. They
Entertainment Tonight.
Exactly. That's what they... I don't know if they're getting that, though. Let me tell you something. I don't feel the buzz for this fight like I felt the buzz for Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. I remember at least a week, maybe 2 weeks going into Tyson-Lewis. Even though that fight took place in Memphis, I remember watching the Jay Leno show, and every night, comedian Dave Chappelle talking to people on the street about who wins, Tyson, Lewis, or whatever. Where's the equivalent of that for Mayweather-Pacquiao now? It just seems like it exists in the HBO and Showtime, CBS, Viacom universe, and social media.
Twitter, yeah.
Right, but all the people who were tweeting crazy, 20 more days, you know, those people aren't going to be going to the fight.
No, I can't afford it.
It's not that kind of fight. It's an interesting thing, but I'm not feeling the buzz quite yet.
Doug is like a lot of other traditional boxing media types. You're a little hurt because for whatever reason, you don't feel as if you're inclusive and you're kind of exclusive. And I understand that to a certain extent. But let's be realistic. The reason we're having this conversation about this fight is because it is all of that. It is everything it is that, you know, for any one of us on this panel to take any of this personal, we're wasting our time. It's all about this particular fight. You made a comment about the fans don't matter. The fans are the reason why this fight has happened. I don't care what anybody tells you.
The hardcore fans.
No.
Made this fight happen.
Well, let's be. What's the difference between a hardcore fan and a guy? The hardcore fans can't move it to this stratosphere. Because the hardcore boxing fans, I'm telling you, I know a whole lot of them, and it ain't as many as people think it really is. The fans that are moving this fight is the non-traditional boxing fan. And I see them all the time, and all they're talking about is Mayweather-Pacquiao.
I'm happy to let him have it. Just for the record, I really don't want to be there. I think it's going to be insane.
I can't wait till May 3rd.
Yeah.
Doug, that's nice.
I can't wait till May 9th.
Doug, that's nice that you say that.
Yes.
But it would be like, you know, Michael Jordan's playing in his final NBA championship and me sitting here as a journalist saying, I don't want to watch that. Of course I want to be there.
You know,
Of course I want to be there.
This is all uncharted territory, too. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have a $250,000 line of credit with MGM Graham to be able to buy tickets. So
That's what you were
it's
told. You
high,
don't know that.
high rollers
You don't
and
know.
whales only.
You don't know.
They're selling all the media seats to the high rollers and putting all of us.
It's all through brokers.
They're putting
It's
all
not
of us
for
in the
public
ballroom
sale.
to watch it on TV. So is this going to be for all big fights from now on? Is this going to be the model?
Look, guys,
Let's
you
hope not.
guys are taking a lot of this so personal. It's not personal. Look, I work for the smallest newspaper medium than anybody sitting on this panel. I've never been turned down for a Mayweather fight. Never. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to give out my circulation numbers, but they're not what this guy gets. They're not what you do on radio.
Then why
It's
do I
not-
get turned
They're
down
not
for
even
Mayweather
probably the
fights?
friends that Mike has on Twitter. So what I'm saying is,
What are you doing that I'm not doing? I get
it's
turned
not
down
that
all the
you're-
time.
Look, a lot of times you take stuff personal that's not really personal. And the reality of it is they would love to be able to say, okay, look, everybody gets a credential for this fight. But they have to maximize.
We are getting credentials. We're just going to be in a ballroom.
Yeah.
watching
You
it
don't
on
know
TV.
that yet. You don't know that yet.
We'll see.
You think we're
You
going to be
don't know that
inside the
yet.
arena?
I got news for you. If I've covered a number of Super Bowl events, and the Super Bowl does the same thing. Super Bowl does the same thing. They call it overflow, media room, and stuff like that. The reality of it is do you want to be a part of the event, or do you want to sit back and castigate the event and not be a part of the event? I'm the kind of guy to where part of me is not all professional, and a little bit of me is fan, and a little bit of me is fan. I want to be
course.
there. I want to be a
Hey,
part
I
of the
wasn't
event.
complaining. I was just stating the facts of what's going on
Okay, well,
here.
good. If
Yeah.
you're not complaining,
Yeah.
then and you really want to be a part of it,
I do.
then be a part of it.
You going to get me in?
Let's talk about this. Okay. Mega fights like this, and this is the first mega fight in the age of social media, where everything's on Twitter, on Instagram. This is being blown
Or
up.
shots.
Yeah, right? This is being blown up by, and it's being talked about by a lot of people that don't know shit about boxing, right, in the mainstream sports media, and they're comparing this to Hagler, Hearns, and I'm hearing these comparisons to these super fights. We all know this probably isn't going to be the most exciting fight. When the whole world's watching, right, he's a counterpuncher. He's not going to come forward and
Never going to get a fight of the year.
exactly. So when the whole world's watching and everyone's talking this up to be this huge mega thing, and it's a bit of a letdown, does that hurt the sport? Because all I hear people talking about right now on both sides are financials. Nobody's talking about the fight itself, and no one's talking about the fans.
I think that's what the fight is about. It's like, hey, the sport can produce these people who transcend it, who are worldwide figures like Pacquiao, or are the highest paid athlete in the world like Mayweather. And when we do work together and come together, we can make a Super Bowl-like event that does comparable revenue, that makes crazy money. And that's what boxing, the industry, thumps its chest about. It's not about
And
the
not
fight.
just
And there's a
boxing.
lot of other fights that are going to be all about the fight and all about the action.
Let's not pin this whole economical engine on the sport of boxing. It's capitalism. This is America. This is what we're all about as a country. Everything is measured in dollars and cents. That's why great athletes who make a whole lot of money get a little bit more credit and a lot more blame than other great athletes. It is what it is. What I want to talk about is Mayweather. I want to talk about Mayweather because I don't think that Floyd Mayweather gets nearly the credit. You know, people like to try to, from a fighting standpoint, compare him to Leonard. I think
It's totally different.
well,
Totally different.
I'm going to go on record in saying this, and I may not. It may not be. I'm Steve Kim may not like it. Doug Fischer may not like it.
I have a feeling I'm going to hate this.
You are.
You better not go where I
And
think
quite
you're going.
frankly, I don't give a damn. But I think that Floyd Mayweather has proven beyond a doubt that he is probably one of the greatest athletes in the history of our time. And he, right now, I think he's probably the greatest fighter of all time. And here's why
Of all
I say
time.
Of all time?
Here's why I say this. Of all time. And here's why I say
Went
this.
further than I
and
thought
I
he was
had
gonna
this
go.
conversation with someone the other day. Here is why I say this. When you go back to Jack Johnson, when you go back to Marciano, even go back to Ali, okay? How many fighters came after these guys and mimicked everything that they did? How many of them? I'll wait.
Who
Do
wins?
I need to get a light?
Sugar Ray Leonard and Mayweather in their primes. Who wins at welterweight?
We're not talking about.
Well, you said he's the greatest fighter of all
here's what-
time.
I'll say that, Leonard.
Look,
You said he's
here's
the greatest fighter of
here's
all
what
time.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. I
right.
still don't think that Leonard could even beat Mayweather. But here's what I'm saying to you. Floyd Mayweather is the guy that every fighter, black, white, Hispanic, whoever, wants to be like.
You're talking about his influence.
His influence.
You said he's the
on
greatest
sport.
fighter
Well,
of
that
all time.
counts.
His
There's guys
style.
who are in the Hall of Fame who weren't that great of fighters, but they're in there because of
Mike
their
Tyson
impact
didn't
on
have
the
this
sport.
kind of impact. So
He had a tremendous impact, though.
So he didn't have this kind of impact. So we're talking about a guy. We're talking about a guy that while some of us may nitpick on who he fought and how he fought, 10 years from now, we're going to be saying, you know what? Who's going to be the next Mayweather? And that's what greatness is all about. So I'm saying it right here on the show that Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion, is the greatest boxer in the history of the sport, and he is the greatest athlete among the greatest athletes in the history.
You're talking
of our
about
sport.
two different things, though. Impact
That's
is different
impact
from
versus-
somebody's body of work.
I'm talking about
Impact
his
is
body
different
of-
from
you wanna
legacy.
talk about his body of work?
No,
His
not
body of-
really. It's
well,
not
what-
that interesting.
Well, because Doug, you, Steve Kim, and a lot of you guys live in a fucking era that
haters.
doesn't exist anymore. They're not, those fighters that you want him to fight are not fighting anymore. He's fighting who he's fighting, and he's dominating who he's fighting.
Can I say
when
who's
he
been
dominates
fighting?
And it's
Manny
taken
Pacquiao-
5.5 years for him
but
to
when
get
he
into the
when he
ring with
dominates
Manny Pacquiao.
when he dominates Manny Pacquiao, you're gonna say that Manny Pacquiao was washed up.
But whose
Look,
fault
look.
is that, Tim? Isn't it Mayweather's fault? If he doesn't want us to say that about Pacquiao, he should have fought Pacquiao when Pacquiao was hot.
And I'm going to back this up with statistics. Okay, just punch numbers. The first 4 fights when Pacquiao fought at welterweight, he was throwing about 950 total punches a fight. He was a volume puncher. The last few fights, he's been averaging closer to about 650. His
down.
output is significantly slowed down, and that's backed up with numbers. That's not opinion. So this is not the same guy offensively as output.
And we all know
He's not the
Mayweather
same
wanted to
guy.
wait him out. And this is just the way it is. If Muhammad Ali came off of that 3-year break, he fights his way to be a #1 contender, right? But the guy who has his title is Joe Frazier. If Ali and his people looked at Joe Frazier in 1971 and said, no, I don't like that. There's too much pressure, too much volume, too much power. He's too quick, cuts the ring off too. We might beat him, but we might not. But let's wait, because that style, it burns out. It slows down.
Right.
So let's fight him in 72 or 73 or 74. That fight would not have had its same significance if they had not fought when they fought.
And I get that it's a different
it
era.
wouldn't have been the event, and neither fighter would have received as much credit as they did for making that fight when they did. And the same thing can be said about Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. When they fought in 81, that's when that needed to happen. That's when both guys had legitimate claims to being not only the best welterweight in the world, but the best fighter pound for pound. Now, if Leonard had looked at Tommy Hearns and said, man, that's a welterweight and he's 6'1", I know it can't be easy to make 147. Let me wait till
Roberto
82.
Duran was-
Let me wait till 83 until he starts to struggle, or until I see him
Roberto
struggle,
Duran,
and then I fight.
Roberto Duran was 30 when he fought Leonard the first time.
Right,
Right.
and,
he could have
yes.
waited him out 5 years
Doug.
when he was
Right,
35.
let me wait. Let me
yeah,
wait.
absolutely.
Wait till this
The
dude-
difference
Wait
between
out
all of those,
It
the
wouldn't- it
difference
wouldn't have
between
counted.
all
It
of
wouldn't
those
have meant
guys
as
that
much.
you're talking about,
Yes.
they didn't have the authority to say that's what they did.
I don't
wanna
believe
do.
that. I think Leonard had
I'm
crazy
telling you, they
authority
didn't.
and crazy
no,
influence.
I don't believe it. Look, here's the
I
thing.
believe it.
I think he can influence.
I think he's more of a
No,
fighter. I
no.
think he was more concerned
Look,
with his
if you
legacy
don't
than
think-
with
look,
his money.
If you don't
Not
think,
that he wasn't concerned
look,
about money.
Look, well, all of them were concerned about
Of course, they're prize fighters.
Prize fighting.
Like Leonard don't have a whole lot of his left.
Mayweather just
you
puts
know.
more on the money side.
His middle name
and
is
that's-
money.
That's his.
His
But that's
nickname
his
is
legacy.
money.
Yes, that's
No,
his legacy.
no.
And it's a
I
different-
made the
it's-
most money. I made more money than any fighter in history in one fight. Bam! Thank you. I dropped the mic.
It's a different era. I get it. The O is a lot more important now. It's all about the O. You can say that Floyd is an all-time great. We know he's one of the best defensive boxers, pound for
He's
pound
a
ever.
first ballot Hall of
Nobody
Famer.
disagrees
I'm gonna
with
vote
that.
for him. I'm not gonna hate
But
on him.
in terms of boxing history, he has been the best matchmaker maybe in the last 50 years.
Yeah,
in
he's a
all
Hall
of
of Fame
boxing.
matchmaker
And let
as
me
well.
tell you, he has played off the Hispanic fan base in the United States. He fights on the 2 Mexican holidays. He's been fighting Mexican fighters or Mexican style type fighters,
Mexican
brawlers that
Americans.
come right to him, milking the Latino fan base. Maybe I'm a little biased here, but I think he's been taking advantage of that. A guy like Pacquiao, a swarmer, a pressure fighter, his best chance for winning this fight was in 2010, 2011. The fight is happening. Floyd's going to make more money than anybody else. He's going to beat Pacquiao,
He did what he
he
wanted
gets
to
to
do.
say it. And he does it on his terms.
It's a risky fight.
But
Let me wait
he's
until
got
the-
that
yeah,
asterisk. He's
right.
always going to have that asterisk.
People
Well,
aren't stupid.
look,
They know.
you
Let
guys
me wait
look,
till the guy's
you
not
guys
as dangerous
can-
and
you guys
until
can
I
put
make
any
the most
asterisk
money.
on him that he
That's what he
want- as
did.
you want.
Mission accomplished.
Yes.
That's what he gets credit
He's
for.
not a steroid fighter. He's never.
Oh, wait a
even-
minute.
We don't know that.
Well, I'm telling you.
Who's a
that he's
strength
not
trainer? Who's a strength trainer right now?
Who's he working
He's not
with right
a
now?
steroid fighter.
He's
Not a
looking
steroid-
vascular
You're
in
talking
the
about-
tweets
you're talking
I've
about-
seen.
You're
Memo
talking
Heredia,
about an asterisk, right?
Alex-
But let's be honest. Let's be honest
Yeah.
here, right? What you guys are doing is hating.
Oh, come on.
I'm okay with
You're
that.
hating.
I'm okay with being a hater.
I'll give him
And
an
he's being honest. I love that.
am. I'm
Doug.
okay.
Doug,
Somebody's
he's
gotta
hating.
I'll give him one asterisk.
Wait a minute. What are we
I'll give him
supposed
one
to?
asterisk.
We got it.
He's
Somebody's
not
got
undefeated.
to.
He's hating.
He's not undefeated.
Who's not?
He lost to Jose Luis Castillo in 2002, Floyd Mayweather. He's got one loss.
Yeah, by the way, the only notable
He's not
lightweight he
undefeated.
fought.
Dave, you're smoking a little bit more of
He-
these
who,
cigarettes.
who won that fight?
Listen, no,
Who'd you
that
have
was a
win?
close fight. I had Mayweather winning.
Did
there.
you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now watching it again on HBO, I'm like, maybe he lost the fight.
He lost.
But win, lose, or draw, here's the thing. He didn't separate himself that much farther from Jose Luis Castillo, who nobody's talking about like a great fighter.
Okay, let's say, who's the
And
best
that's the
fighter?
best lightweight he ever fought.
The
I was
guy
gonna-
that, the
who's
guy
the
that-
best
and
fighter
who's the
he's
best
fought?
junior
The
welterweight
guy
he
that
ever
you
fought.
love, the
Yeah.
guy that you really admire, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yes.
He thinks Floyd Mayweather's the best.
No, he doesn't.
He said it.
He's a
With a camera.
That's called being humble.
Yeah.
That's called not being a jerk. That's all that is. That's just he's being
Doug,
gracious.
Can you tell me what I'm thinking right now?
Now, when you say Floyd's the greatest fighter of all
Maybe.
time, is that marketing everything rolled in, or is just the greatest physical fighter?
Everything rolled.
He's talking
Everything.
about
Impact-wise,
Everything.
businessman-wise,
He's not the greatest fighter.
No,
Right,
greatest
listen,
fighter.
no way.
He's not the greatest fighter of the last 30
in
years.
terms of
No,
impact,
no.
in terms of marketing
Changing
and
the
popularity, listen, in terms of marketing, popularity, in terms of impact, no heavyweight touches Jack Dempsey. But nobody's saying Jack Dempsey is the best heavyweight of all time. Even he was the athlete, the sports figure of the 20s. But that doesn't mean he was better than Muhammad Ali. That doesn't mean he was better even than Larry Holmes.
You can't compare.
They are
I'm
two
just
different
saying, look,
things.
it took me
two
a while to
different
get to this point.
Okay.
I've been very unbiased on this show. I'm going to continue to be unbiased. Took me
That's
a while.
why
to-
you're the
It took
institution.
me a while to get to TBE. And I got to tell you right now, let me take my glasses off.
Now
Floyd,
you're serious.
I hear
Floyd,
already the
Floyd,
crowd.
I am telling you right now, because I was sitting back with a friend of mine the other day, and I'm saying, I'm watching actually the Andy Lee fight. And I'm watching all of these guys that have some part of their fight game that's Floyd Mayweather. And there's a lot of that going on. I mean, look, everybody wants to be like Michael Jordan in basketball, and in boxing seems like everybody wants to be like Floyd. And
listen.
the reason why they want to be like Michael Jordan in basketball is because of what? He's the best ever.
But Floyd-
He was forced to play against the best,
Yeah.
though.
He's the
Michael
best
Jordan's
ever.
the best basketball player of all time. Floyd's not the best fighter of all time. There's a big difference.
Well, he's the best fighter of all time,
No,
in
he's
my
not.
opinion.
No, he doesn't beat Tommy Hearns.
Jordan
he
had
doesn't
to
beat
go
Sugar
up
Ray
against the
Leonard.
bad
He doesn't
boys.
beat
I
Durant.
got
Boys
two
was doing it.
elbows, one asshole, and two shoes, and my opinion says that Floyd is TBE.
I agree with you on the second part.
You're entitled to that opinion.
I hear the crowd
First
chanting that
billionaire
right now
athlete.
in Vegas, May 2nd. We're going to be hearing the TBE chants as soon as
been
the
drinking?
decision's announced.
You got anything
I
to
can hear
drink
it
today,
already.
Kenny?
Well, I don't know. I think most of that corporate crowd, and I love what Vegas is doing. You gotta love this too, Doug. They're all of a sudden making Manny the favorite.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They said all this money is coming in on
Well,
Manny.
again, that's
the
that's
odds
the
are shrinking.
Philippines. That's
The
that's
odds
the
are
money.
shrinking.
You know, the high rollers come in the
Manny
day.
has
The
two
high rollers
chances.
come in the day before the fight and make their bid.
We should talk about the actual fight. Talk about Manny's chances. Okay, let's talk
Yeah,
about the
let's
actual
talk about
fight,
it.
guys. Okay, focus. We're going to talk about the actual matchup now. How do you see this fight playing out? No hateration. How do you really see this fight playing out. The keys to victory for Pacquiao, for Mayweather, let's start with that. If you're for Manny Pacquiao, what does he have to do to win?
He has to attack at angles. You described him as a pressure fighter. He's not a pressure fighter, and it would not behoove him to be a pressure fighter against Mayweather, because that plays into the defensive skill and the counter punching. Manny needs to be Manny, which is an in and out fighter. He at his best, he was a dynamic boxer puncher. He's not that dynamic anymore. He's slowed down. He's been knocked out. He's just 3 fights removed from being KO'd cold.
Turnover.
So now he's a little more cautious. He's slowed down. So what he is he's a southpaw, an awkward southpaw boxer who still has very good speed, still has some pop, not, as you noted, Michael, not as active as he used to be. But I like his chances against Floyd because of his footwork. He's not flat-footed. He doesn't stand in one place, and he doesn't walk in a straight line towards his opponent. He's in, he's out. He can be timed, he can be hit. But
Algieri hit him.
He moves in. Yeah, but Algieri was so worried about what he was putting back. Algieri never stood his ground and never got power into those punches. And he was off balance. He was having to move constantly, and he didn't win a single round.
Chris Algieri.
It was Chris Algieri, but you know what? Before that fight against Timothy Bradley, who had an unbeaten record, who everybody had in their mythical pound-for-pound rankings, right behind Mayweather, right behind Andre Ward, Manny won that fight. Most people thought he won the first fight, but the rematch last April, Manny Pacquiao won the majority. He legitimately outpointed Tim Bradley, who was not an easy out for anyone, and he is a boxer. He's somebody who is athletic, who does have speed, who does try to move his head and upper body movement. He moves around. He's not a stationary target. Manny has a difficult style for boxers. It's not just being a southpaw. It's not just the speed. It's the movement. And what he needs to do, this is his key to victory, he needs to be able to get his power shots off at the right angles. You can't do it facing him. He's got to move in, out, over to the side, and do what Manny at his best did.
Okay.
Yes, but those angles you're talking about that used to be this wide, those angles to me have gotten more narrow. I think Manny's coming in straighter now.
Yeah.
If Chris Algieri can time you, what's Mayweather going to do?
But how often did Chris Algieri really connect with him, and how often did he do anything to deter?
Well, the fact that he did anything. The fact that he connected at all.
But the fact that. But let me ask you this, Ken. If Mayweather is fighting Chris Algieri,
he wouldn't fight.
Would the result have been any different?
Yeah.
It would have been the same fight.
There would have been no knockdown.
Yeah, it would have been a shutout with no knockdowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're making predictions here. Mayweather easy. I said 2008, 2009.
How did the fight play out?
Mayweather easy. Mayweather's going to win this fight easy. He's going to do a paint job on him. He's going to outbox him, just like he would have done 5 or 6 years ago. He's a better fighter. And you know what really surprised me at the press conference? How much bigger Floyd is than him. When you look at, he's taller than him. He's big. And you talked about how big he is now. I think maybe the elephant in the room here. Nobody's talking about Alex Ariza, the strength and conditioning coach for Floyd now. How about Memo Heredia, who was, the Balco situation and the reputation he has. And he trained Juan Manuel Marquez for the 4th fight.
Him out.
Marquez came in with acne on his shoulders and acne on his chest. All of a sudden, he's hitting like Tommy Hearns.
He looked like
and a brand new body.
Schwarzenegger all of a sudden.
And a brand new
overnight.
body. He's consulting with Alex Ariza. They had lunch the other day. I'd be very concerned if I were Pacquiao right now about the strength and conditioning coaches for Floyd Mayweather. He might run into one and get knocked out.
Heredia can bulk Floyd up all he wants. Marquez landed that money shot because Marquez had 36 previous professional championship rounds with Manny Pacquiao in 4 training camps.
But he knocked him
to
down.
get used to that style.
He knocked him down a couple of rounds earlier.
He did. He dropped him. But here's the thing: Marquez is a technician and he's a counterpuncher. Floyd is too. But Marquez is a guy who's willing to die in there. Marquez is a guy.
Too.
Oh, did you just break my nose? I don't care.
How about the?
Are you tearing my face off? I don't care. Everybody remembers that money shot that put Pacquiao face down. People forget Marquez's face was flat.
How about the change in his body?
He was losing that fight. He was losing
spilling
that fight.
blood.
How about the change in his body at 39 years old?
If Pacquiao can get into the same shape he was just for that 4th fight with Marquez, I think he gives Floyd hell. Because I don't think Floyd's going to stand in there.
Wow.
To be able to drop that money shot, you got to plant your ass, and you have to commit to that. You can't be like, No, I don't like that. You can't do that.
Oh, it's been working real good, man.
He gets hit.
Well, look,
He still gets hit.
117,
Against
111.
Marcos
Kenny.
Maidana put
No,
hands on him,
look.
and so did Cotto.
I mentioned
and
this.
these are
No,
basic.
I think Cotto's the
mentioned
best
this-
fighter he's
No, look,
flat-footed
I mentioned
fighters.
this to you,
Yes.
and I mentioned this to Steve Kim, that it was Floyd who made the Maidana fight tougher than what it had to be. And both you guys laughed at me.
Yeah.
Because Floyd is human too, and part of it was that I have to do something to engage in somebody. So he fights this guy who just beats Broner, and he engages him just enough, and he gets hit more than he had to get hit. Okay,
And his body
all for-
reacted that.
Let me tell you something.
Whether it was a
I think he took him
a
lightly.
purposeful
I'm
tactical
telling-
move on his
no,
part,
I'm
I
tell-
still saw his body react to
I'm
some of
telling-
those shots that
look,
bounced off his
look,
dome.
I'm telling you that Floyd was a bigger reason for that engagement is anything.
Okay, so
You're not going to see.
tell me what happened in the rematch with
Well,
Maidana.
He was a little bit more braver
He took
in
him
the
seriously.
rematch. He
Okay.
took him seriously.
And he
took
won
him
clearly,
seriously.
right?
Yeah.
I thought
took
he
him
won clearly,
seriously.
but guess what? He looked old.
Mayweather has never, ever been turned over. And I said this to you. I said it to Steve. I'll say it to anybody out there. I used to box. A long time ago, I used to box. I was a stablemate with Armando Muniz, for many of you who may not even know who he is.
He was a
But
hell
I
of a
will
fighter.
tell you,
He could fight, man.
I will tell you this. You can come back in the sport of boxing from a whole lot of stuff. You can come back from drug abuse, spousal abuse. You can come back from jail. The hardest thing to come back from in the sport of boxing is a knockout.
But it does happen. The heavyweight champion of the
It
world has
happens
been
in
knocked out 3
sparring all the
times.
time.
Look, the hardest, when you are turned over,
Yeah.
like Manny Pacquiao was turned over, once you get hit, the shot does not have to be that a shot with with a lot of velocity, because the equilibrium is only going to remember one thing.
Right.
And in this fight, I would not be surprised if Mayweather knocked Manny Pacquiao
It's
out.
possible.
I would not be surprised
Not
if
at
he
all.
knocked Manny Pacquiao
But I
out.
also wouldn't be surprised if Manny Pacquiao hurts Mayweather, particularly in
But
those
it's got to
early
be
rounds.
early.
Because
we all know Floyd
I
gives
think
up
that's
the
when it
first,
would happen.
Yeah, he's going to give up those first couple rounds to see what Manny's bringing.
Well, I don't think he's going to give up any rounds. The notion
he gives
that
up the first round to
the
Robert
notion-
Guerrero.
The
He-
notion that Floyd is going to come out and give up any rounds, what he's going to do this time, he's going to let Pacquiao know early.
he might have to.
That
He's gonna have to, yeah.
I'm gonna be here for a minute, but you're going to have to be a Pacquiao that you've never had to be before to beat me. Because every time Pacquiao misses, he's gonna pay, and he misses a lot.
So does Floyd. Not a lot, but he misses.
He does.
He misses
Recently-
more than people
Doesn't miss that much.
mention.
Doesn't miss that much.
Perfect record means perfection. He's never struggled. He's never been hit. He's never been in trouble. That's not true.
Right.
He's human, and everybody can lose.
Let's talk about the aftermath. What happens after this fight? I think Mayweather's going to win a decision. I think we're all in agreement there. Maybe a late knockout.
I want to be a hater and just go ahead and pick Pacquiao.
Upset
I am
special
hating.
right here.
Pacquiao.
All
right.
Do it.
Pacquiao, unanimous
Show some
decision.
damn heart and do it.
Well, then we
Let
might
all
just
these
see a
people know you're
rematch.
going with
That's the only
Pacquiao.
way we'll ever see a rematch.
Agreed.
But, okay, let's assume Floyd wins. Where do both fighters go from here? Does Floyd retire,
Are you
or does
talking
he
about a
come back?
one-sided
Floyd
fight?
can't retire.
One-sided fight or an
One-sided
easy
fight.
win for Floyd?
Well, look, I think it's going to be a one-sided fight, but at least one of the judges will score a draw or something just to be shitty. Because
Canelo got a 114,
Yeah.
114
Which is
card.
insane.
And that rematch with Maidana, I thought Floyd won 9 or 10 rounds.
At least,
But
at
it was
least.
like 7-5 on at least 2 of the cards.
Does
the
Floyd
card,
Maybe Floyd doesn't have the influence that he used to have in Vegas.
the scores will be closer than this fight reflects. I feel.
Does Floyd retire if he wins the fight
can't.
like we think he's
Floyd
going to?
can't retire.
Why
Can't
not?
retire.
Why
No,
not?
He can't retire. He's dialed in.
120
to that-
million for this fight,
He's
right?
dialed into that contract with
Oh, so he's got-
with
Okay,
Shaw
then
and
what's next
CBS.
for him?
Well, I think what's next for him is whatever it is that he wants to be next in September. And if people buy it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't.
Keith Thurman, Amir Khan?
No, I don't see it. You know,
Keith
if they-
Thurman.
If they look, here's the
Danny
thing.
Garcia.
Floyd Mayweather.
Which will be competitive
Look,
if Mayweather
the
comes in
conversation-
blindfolded.
The conversation that we're having
Maybe.
about Floyd Mayweather is kind of like the conversation that we're having about Canelo Alvarez. The pedestal is so damn high that.
But Canelo takes
He's-
challenges he doesn't need
Well,
to take. He fought Irizlandi Lara when
look,
nobody
the pedal-
knows
look,
how
but
to even
still-
spell his
not
name.
fighting a boxer
But
like
still,
that.
the pedestal for Floyd is so high, and he created it himself.
He calls himself the best ever.
Yeah, when
He
you have
created it
a
himself.
baseball hat with TBE and you tell people what that means,
Come on, man.
you're going to be held to a higher
It's just
standard.
a branding thing. Some people come into the damn ring
That's
with
fine.
tiger on their shorts. You think they really want to be a damn tiger? I mean, for crying out loud, it's sports, it's branding. But I must be honest, I've been to a lot of great sporting events, and I spent a lot of time during the Tyson era. When it's over with for Floyd, I'm going to miss the aspect of the events and the electricity that he brought, because what he brought to the sport of boxing is like I was at the last Maidana fight, and I never show up for a weigh-in, but I showed up for a weigh-in because I knew I was going to get a free Rick Ross concert. So he's just, dude, I mean, for those, no matter what color you are, for those who want to hate, if you will.
It's me.
But at the end of the day, I'm just going to celebrate the essence of what this guy is and what he has been to the sport of boxing and to the entertainment landscape. And I think it's fantastic, and I'm going to miss him when it's
But
over.
you think he fights one more time and then says that's it?
Yeah,
After he
yeah.
finishes his contract?
Yeah, after he finishes his
One and
contract,
done after
he's done.
Pacquiao.
I don't really think that Floyd wanted this fight. I
Not
think
yet.
that-
Not yet.
Yeah, no. I don't think, look, I think that after Maidana, if Floyd could have clearly walked away from the deal with Showtime and CBS, that he would have. And I think one of the reasons why this fight had to materialize, because I think if it would have been somebody else, I think he probably would have walked away and paid whatever it is that he had to pay back to CBS Showtime. But this fight happened. And it's a good thing for CBS Showtime that it happened. They can get some of their money back. Floyd could be the first billionaire.
You calling me a hater too?
No.
Yeah, Floyd, I'm picking him to win.
What, you are?
You said he was
But-
going to win 5 years ago.
Yeah,
No, I disagree.
I
disagree
I
with
love
that
Floyd in this,
completely.
but I disagree with you that he's the greatest fighter ever. That doesn't make me a hater.
Well, you know.
In this
look,
day and age,
look,
that
Bert
actually
Sugar
does
used
make
to
you a hater,
always,
Dave.
yeah, let me tell you something. The
makes
old
you-
great Bert
My
Sugar
buddy
used
Bert
to always
Sugar.
say
Yeah.
is that, you know what, and that, you know what an expert was?
Sports God?
No, a person who was right one time. So
Like a stop
there's
clock.
no real, the beauty about the era that we live in now,
Yeah.
we have a whole lot of opportunities to be wrong and right and wrong and right
experts.
in the Twitter interview universe and all of that. But I'm just going on record right here that this is not personal. Floyd Mayweather is a subject like any other sports items or subjects out there, but I am certainly going to give him all of the credit that I think that he rightfully deserves. And then once he annihilates Manny Pacquiao, he'll have another fight in September. It'll be a swan song. You'll get a credential to that.
Oh,
You're gonna
yeah.
credential.
I might go to that one just to say goodbye.
We're giving him credit too. We're just saying he's not the greatest of all time.
Well,
We're disagreeing with you.
look.
That doesn't
here's
make
the
us
thing.
haters.
It actually does.
Look.
Yeah, in
In
this
his
day and
eyes.
age,
Yeah.
Well, in a lot of people's eyes.
Well, we only eyes that matter right here is yours. You're a hater, on record hater,
I am.
on record hater.
Proud hater.
No, I'm not a hater.
You're not.
Of Floyd?
That's going to be my hat.
No.
Hater.
I think he's a great fighter. He's not the greatest of all time. No.
Okay, good.
No
Okay.
way. Not
All
even
right,
close.
Dutch. You're sweating here. Are you telling the truth?
Well, that's
So I
because
need
I'm
to
next.
get
being
you to
completely
lie.
That's because I'm
honest.
next to the institution.
Oh, okay.
I'm going on record. I'm not a hater. I'm just a bullshit caller-outer. I call out bullshit when I smell it, and there's a lot of bullshit with Floyd. Guys, let us know what you think. Comment below. Follow us on Twitter, UCN Live. For Doug Fischer, Dave Smith, Ken Miller, Mayweather, and Pacquiao, I'm Michael Montero. We'll see you guys next time on 10 Count.